Mexico. I've asked them if they can help me out with fundraising. Bring the whole family out, load up on tacos. A portion of those a portion of those proceeds goes to the Damien for Friends of Damien Villanova campaign. So that's another way of me get these signs out here. Everyone else has big signs. I need some big signs too. So the only way I can get big signs is fundraising and also donations. So I appreciate everything. Yes, sir.
Okay, you mentioned opt-out. Give me some more information on, if a parent decides to opt out, what options do you think they should have, or they will have?
Absolutely. So your question is, as far as opting out, what other options do the parents have to opt out? Is that your question? Awesome. So let's take, for instance, the hot button topic. One of them is home ec. Home ec, and home ec has the sex education piece to it. That can be a part of the class that the kid can, the child or parent rather, can opt out. Not the whole entire course, but that portion of it. So when that portion is being taught per the curriculum, that child can opt out. Where they can go, again, that'll be something that I'd like to, once I get on the Board of Education, we can come up with creative ways of how, what's an alternative opting out. Will it be a different perspective of sex ed to opt out to? I think that might be, because again, the child's gonna still need that skill set, that topic being taught to them. So I don't think opting out to go swimming is not a compatible opt out. Let's give them another perspective of that topic. Did I answer your question?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, sir.
What are your thoughts on CRT? I'm gonna just get my two questions.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
What are your thoughts on CRT?
CRT, good question. So here we go. This is social media.
Is it the critical race theory or the culturally responsive teaching?
Oh.
Critical race theory.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
Critical race theory. So critical race theory, the way that.
Thank you.
The way I
We'll get to that
understand.
later.
Yes. The way I understand critical race theory is this. Critical race theory started back in the 1800s in Germany. The whole purpose of that being, I forgot the gentleman's name who created it. His whole purpose was to create a oppressed class and an oppressor class division. It moved on to Europe or United Kingdom area, where it became a control theory. It moved on to the States when they came over to cultural theory. And the culture started in the early 1900s, where you had slavery. And the slave master, he said, he had too many slaves. So what he did was he created a culture where the light-skinned slaves were superior than the dark-skinned slaves. Again, creating division. And then moved to its current state, where you have one race being portrayed as superior than another race, and then flip it where that race was the race that was portrayed as being lesser is now being deemed that they need to get something back for their oppressed state. Again, causing division. Now, I would never go toe-to-toe with anybody as far as critical race theory, because one thing that we can agree on, that it's an endless fight that no one wins. But I think we can agree on one thing: it creates division. That's my take on CRT.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Kind of to piggyback off like the opt-out option. I guess what is kind of like how can we go after, or can we go after a certain curriculum that has already been approved that is not based in science or have anything to actually do with teaching the subject that it is being taught in? Instead of having an opt-out for those kind of topics, why can't we have an opt-in to allow parents who want their children to learn about gender identity, ideology, why can't that be an opt-in instead? And why can't we just teach our children what we've been teaching for centuries about reproductive safe sex and
STDs and things of that nature. Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. So I understand your question is basically the reverse of an opt-out. Is that correct? With the curriculum that they're opting out to, which is a different, we took sex ed. Sex ed would be taught the old school way, is the opt out, but it will be, the old school way of 6A will be the curriculum,
Yes,
and the opt in will be the alternative.
yes,
Maybe
Again.
there's like a special program
yes.
that if there are children in
We
those,
need that, yes.
right, who do need that maybe there's something else that they could go to versus the masses.
Mhm.
So kind of really just the reverse.
Reverse, right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And that's something that,
That makes a lot of sense.
It does,
actually.
it does, yeah, so,
Mhm.
so,
And
so,
age appropriate.
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
Because
so,
that's our problem too, is with the kindergarten and third graders, with the gender identity and those sort of things. I mean, nobody should be teaching sex ed to the kindergarten and third graders. And that was a big deal.
I like that perspective, I really do.
And that's fine,
and-
and we get all that,
right.
that's, have no problem with that, and I agree with you 100%.
So to answer your question, I think to look at the masses, because again, it's a nonpartisan seat, you're dealing with all walks of life and all lifestyles. So I think a well thought out way is to look at, during the summertime, whatever, send out a survey, find out what, an approved curriculum will go out. The parents will have the option to vote, not so much vote, but say, okay, for a topic of 6 to 8, whatever. Is this something, how many parents believe this is number 1 and number 2, and then we count up all the ones and all. And if we have more 1s than 2s, then guess what? That will be the main curriculum. I think that's a scientific way of
Doesn't the
approaching it.
Maryland State Department of Health send out the survey that comes back to the Civil Rights Board that they send out every year, that's included in the whole package for Kerwin? I read at the back, it's like a 20-page survey that goes out to every student at the beginning of the year. I mean, I have a copy of the survey in the packages. Didn't you see
Yeah.
a couple surveys?
I'm
Ms. Cox did. And we were
I'm
gonna
pretty-
talk about that later
Right.
on in this meeting, of all the packages and the surveys that do go out, that do the gender identities, and they
Right.
even put police records in their packages, and whether or not, they include them in their, student programs or in their student packages. So they do include them in Baltimore, and that's what I was telling Ms. Cox about these information package, that Baltimore, they did include them. I don't know if they've gotten this far in Calvert yet. I was telling,
I'm
I've
trying
tried-
to
I've
recall,
tried
I mean,
that.
I'm a high schooler, so I
Yeah.
don't know,
yeah, and
I
this
don't
is
know
all
that
part
I've
of the
seen.
conversation
Yeah,
we
go ahead
haven't
and
got to
go ahead and
yet,
let
but we're
Susan
gonna go
talk.
ahead and we're gonna go ahead and get to our speakers, and then we're gonna have a general conversation as to what happened at the board the other night,
Okay.
and how far we've gotten with what's going on
I
way
have
up
a
the
question
chain.
for him. I have a
That's
question
fine,
for Dan.
that's fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi.
How you doing?
How you're doing?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Yes, ma'am.
My, I've heard, myriad wonderful, wonderful candidates. Each one of us, who, on the Republican side and is running is very, very well meaning and grounded. I'd like to throw out a general question for anyone who's listening. How are you, as one person, and this is rhetorical, maybe you don't have to answer it, but just take it in.
Into this side, cause all 4 of them are here. Lisa's here as well, so,
Hey, Lisa.
Joe, all 4 are here. Talk.
I spent 37 years in the system.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm also I was raised in the system,
Yes, ma'am.
but I spent 30 years public school, 7 years private school.
Okay.
I'm actually going in tomorrow as an enrichment teacher in the public school. I continue to do that. My question is, I hear parent rights and I hear this and getting to teachers. I would like you to dig deep and think about when you are elected and selected to be on the board, your time that is spent building relationships. Our system is a good system. It has gotten off track.
Yes.
It does not mean it's a bad system. It does also require us to go to national, state, and county levels. When you go into the world of politics, you're gonna have to be dealing with the commissioners and the money and whatnot. But the actual teacher in the classroom with 35 children, which was low, by the way,
I was being nice.
that teacher, how are you as board members going to be building that relationship and understanding what the teacher is going through and listening to the concerns of the teacher, because they are the ones that are going to build your momentum. It is not going to be the administration.
No.
And it's not going to be, you're also going to have a beautiful opportunity to be that pivot point between the teachers and the parents.
Absolutely.
And you're going to have to do a lot of healing.
Yes.
So, I would love to see all of you, each of you has really good strengths.
Yes.
And I'd love for you to get together and build on those strengths for each other. And then use the tools of your government and use the tool to understand and learn. And not just, we can't just be coming off the cuff. We have to really know. And we can't say we're going to do something because it may be out of our purview to do that.
Correct.
But it can also be the administration, and then, but definitely the giving the parents voice, but the teacher's voice, because ultimately it's down to the children's voice.
Absolutely.
So I'd like to offer that as and I'm willing and more than able to assist in helping us create that
Bridge.
pathway.
Yeah.
That pathway,
Yeah.
if you're willing to use the
Bridge
old
pathway, that
sage.
connection. When
You
I
have to have
connect.
you have to have a relationship.
Right. So, so
And
I've been on both sides of that coin, and the reason why I say this is because my mom, she taught for 45 years. My dad taught up to 42 years, and I've seen the backside of a parent who's a teacher coming home to still parent your kids. And the relationship, I believe, is so important because, again, it's going to be it has to be a team. I don't really want to use the word community, but it has to be a team where the teacher has a VFR direct connection with the parents. We get emails all the time from our twins teachers all the time in reference to get on, they get on Dreambox. They boost their hours up on next year, things of that nature. But I think how we're going to do it is this. First of all, I think the current board, and I'm not going to pick too hard on them, but the current board is obviously not engaged with the teachers. To the actual teachers, maybe the teacher union.
You know what? They don't listen to the teachers.
They don't.
They
They
do
don't.
not listen.
They don't.
Damien,
They
Because
don't.
that is
Damien.
that is
Yes,
a,
We're gonna have to call time on,
Okay.
and then leave this for a later Board of Education discussion.
Okay.
Because we could go on and on about the Board of Education.
Remember, my thing was rhetorical, not rhetorical.
Yes,
Okay?
yes, ma'am.
It was simply keep all those things
Yes,
in
sir.
mind.
Good question. I love it. I love to sit down.
She's got the best
She
retort.
does.
She make
She
you
does.
think all day long.
I love 'em. I love
I
'em.
know, and I
So,
know.
I yield the floor to Mr. Kevin Merlak. Thank you so much.
Kevin Merlak, yes, he is.